The dust of the frontier town swirled like smoke as the auctioneer's voice rang through the hot afternoon air. Men had gathered, hats low over their eyes, some with whiskey on their breath, some with hunger in their gaze. Not hunger for food, but for what stood trembling on the wooden platform. She couldn't have been more than 18. A girl with dark hair pinned hastily, a pale dress clinging to her thin frame, eyes darting to every face in the crowd as though searching for mercy. The auctioneer's hammer pounded the post. Virgin bride. Healthy, untouched, and ready for claimin'. Who'll start the bid? A ripple of laughter rolled across the crowd. Numbers were thrown out like knives. $1. Pooh. Someone shouted, $2.50. Another jeered, not worth that much. Then came silence. The men wanted her cheap, but none wanted to spend real money. That was when a tall figure stepped out from the shadows at the edge of the crowd. He wore trail-worn boots, dust clinging to his duster coat. A hat shaded his face, but the strength in his stance made the men shuffle uneasily. This was a cowboy they knew not to cross, Eli Carter, a loner who rode the plains with a Bible tucked in his saddlebag and scars on his knuckles from barroom fights. He rarely started but always finished. $3, he said, his voice low but carrying. The crowd burst into hoots. $3. That all? Guess she ain't worth more to him than a bottle o' whiskey. The auctioneer's hammer cracked down. Sold. $3 to Eli Carter. The girl's lips parted, horror flickering in her gaze. She had expected the highest bidder to drag her away, as so many women before her had been dragged. She had prepared herself to be claimed like property, her innocence ripped away in some dark cabin. But when Eli reached her, he did not seize her arm. He took off his hat instead, bowing his head respectfully. "Come on," he said gently. "Let's get you out of here." Her feet moved on their own, though her whole body trembled. He led her away from the laughter of the men, away from the stink of cheap whiskey and the cruel hunger in their eyes. They walked until the town's noise fell behind them, until only the sound of horses and wind filled the air. Finally, he stopped beneath a cluster of cottonwoods where his horse grazed. He spread out his blanket, set down a canteen, and turned to face her. "You got a name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Lydia." "Lydia," he repeated, as though testing it on his tongue. "Well, Lydia, you're free now." Her brow furrowed. "Free? You paid for me." "Paid to stop them from ownin' you," he said. "That $3 wasn't to buy you, it was to save you." The words tumbled inside her like stones rolling down a hill. She wrapped her arms around herself, staring. Then what are you going to do with me?" It was then that Eli did the unthinkable. Instead of stepping toward her with rough hands, instead of claiming what every man in town expected, he dropped to one knee in the dirt. He bowed his head like a knight before a queen, his hat clutched to his chest. And Lydia screamed. The sound tore from her throat before she could stop it. She staggered back, pressing against a tree, eyes wide with terror. The gesture, the kneeling, confused her more than cruelty ever had. Every man she'd known had reached for her with greed, but never had one knelt. Eli didn't move. He let her scream echo into the silence of the plains. Only when her voice broke did he finally speak. "I ain't here to harm you, Lydia," he said softly. "I kneel, 'cause I swear before God, no man will touch you unless you choose it. I swear to protect you, not claim you." Her breath came ragged, her heart hammering. "Why?" He lifted his gaze then, and she saw no hunger in it, only weariness and something like sorrow. "Because I've seen too much taken from women like you. My own sister was sold off once. I never found her. But I can keep you from meetin' the same fate." Lydia's knees weakened, and she sank onto the blanket, clutching her skirt. Tears burned her eyes, though she fought them. I thought all men were the same." "Not all," Eli murmured. He reached into his saddlebag, pulling out a small loaf of bread and a slice of dried meat. He laid them beside her. "Eat. You look half-starved." She took the food slowly, suspicion still lingering in her gaze, but hunger won. She ate in silence, every bite filling the hollow ache in her stomach. Eli sat a few feet away, not watching her, just staring out across the horizon as though keeping guard. When she finished, she whispered, "What happens to me now?" "You decide," Eli said. "If you want, I'll take you to the next town. There's a church there, good folks who'll help you find a place. Or, if you'd rather ride with me, till you find your footing, you can." "You'd let me choose." He gave a faint smile. "That's the only thing that's ever truly yours, Lydia, your choice." For the first time, warmth crept into her chest, a fragile spark against the cold that had lived there too long. She looked at this rough cowboy, this man who had spent only $3 to give her back what no money could buy, dignity. That night, beneath the endless stars, she lay wrapped in the blanket he gave her while Eli kept watch by the fire. She heard him murmur a prayer, quiet words of thanks and hope, and tears finally spilled down her cheeks. Not tears of terror, but of release. The next morning, she rose and found him saddling his horse. He looked at her, waiting for her choice. She hesitated, then lifted her chin. "I'll ride with you. For now," she said. A slow nod was his only answer, but in his eyes, she saw respect. No hunger. No chains. As they rode out together into the rising sun, Lydia realized the truth. She had been sold for $3, but for the first time in her life, she was free. And Eli Carter, the cowboy who kneeled, had not only saved her body, he had given her back her soul.